It started like any other evening. Ryan looked perfect in his navy suit, grinning as he drove us to Mark's birthday party. He kissed my cheek at the entrance, whispering, "Don't wait up if I run late. There's this last-minute client call I might have to take." I didn't think twice. I trusted him. The party was lively, music thumping, laughter spilling from every corner. I was halfway through a conversation with Mark's wife when my phone buzzed. A text from Ryan. I smiled, expecting a "miss you already" or some quick check-in. Instead, the words froze me. "Can't wait to see you tonight, Emily Redheart. I booked us a table at La Piazza. I'll tell Sarah I'm working late so we won't be interrupted." For a second, I couldn't breathe. The room spun. I reread it 3 times, each word stabbing deeper. Emily. Dinner. La Piazza. Tell Sarah I'm working late. My name. My husband. My life. And he'd sent me proof of his affair by accident. My wine glass nearly slipped from my hand. I muttered something to Mark's wife, God knows what, and stumbled toward the exit. The bass of the music thudded in my skull like it was mocking me. Outside, cool night air hit my face, but it didn't stop the burning in my chest. Hands trembling, I opened our shared location tracker. His dot was moving, straight toward downtown. Toward La Piazza. I hailed a cab so fast the driver barely had time to stop. La Piazza, I rasped, my voice foreign to my own ears. The ride felt endless. My thoughts were chaos. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But then I pictured the heart emoji. The careful phrasing. My name in the text. No. There was no joke here. When we pulled up, I spotted his car immediately. Through the cafe's wide windows, there he was, my husband. Laughing. Leaning in close across the table to a woman whose face twisted my stomach into knots. Emily Carter. Our daughter's homeroom teacher. I froze on the sidewalk, rain misting down, staring at them like I was outside my own body. His hand brushed hers casually, intimately, like this wasn't the first time. Like this was their ritual. I stood there for almost a full minute, unable to move. People passed me on the street, but I felt invisible. Then my hand tightened around my purse strap. My legs carried me forward, up the steps, through the glass doors. The bell above the cafe door chimed as I walked in. Ryan's head snapped up. The color drained from his face so fast it was almost comical. Emily's smile faltered, her hand freezing mid-gesture. I didn't stop until I was standing right in front of their table. My voice came out low but steady. Having a nice evening? The entire cafe went silent. Ryan's mouth opened, but nothing came out at first. He glanced at Emily like she might magically save him, but she was already shrinking in her chair, her eyes darting everywhere but mine. "Honey, what are you doing here?" His voice was tight, brittle. I tilted my head, forcing a bitter smile. "Funny question. I could ask you the same thing, Ryan. Or maybe I should ask Emily." The cafe was dead silent. The only sound was the clinking of a spoon against a coffee cup somewhere in the back. "Sarah, listen, this isn't." I cut him off, my voice sharp enough to make him flinch. "Don't you dare feed me excuses. You texted me by mistake, Ryan. Can't wait to see you tonight, Emily. I'll tell Sarah I'm working late. Do you want me to read it aloud for everyone here?" A few people actually turned their heads, eyes wide. Ryan's face went pale. Emily's lips parted like she might protest, but she closed them again, clearly realizing there was no defense for this. "It's not what it looks like," Ryan tried again, fumbling like a man clinging to a sinking raft. "Oh, really?" I leaned forward slightly, my hands braced on the table. "Because it looks exactly like my husband is on a date with our daughter's teacher. And it looks like he's dumb enough to text me the invitation." Emily stood abruptly, her chair scraping back. I should go," she stammered, grabbing her purse. I blocked her path with one sharp step to the side. Sit down. Her eyes went wide. I wasn't yelling, but my tone left no room for argument. She sank back down like a child caught in class. Ryan ran a hand through his hair, his voice dropping to a pleading whisper. Sarah, please. Not here. Can we talk about this at home? Why? I shot back. So you can come up with better lies? The waitress froze mid-step nearby, holding a tray, clearly unsure whether to intervene. The entire cafe felt like it was holding its breath. Emily finally spoke, her voice trembling. Sarah, nothing physical happened. I swear. We were just. Just what? I snapped. Just flirting? Just sneaking around behind my back? Just planning dinners while my daughter sits in your class, trusting you? Ryan reached out as if to touch my hand, but I jerked away. Sarah, please. I messed up. It's stupid flirting. It never went further. Oh, so it's fine because you didn't technically sleep with her yet? My voice cracked on the last word. God, Ryan, do you hear yourself? He opened his mouth, but no words came. His eyes darted desperately around the room like he was looking for an escape route. Here's what's going to happen, I said coldly, straightening. You are going to stand up, walk out of here, and go back to our house. And you will wait for me there. Alone. Ryan hesitated like he wanted to argue, but then he saw my expression, the absolute fury mixed with something far worse, finality. He nodded stiffly and left without another word. Emily started to rise again, but I leveled her with a glare so sharp she froze. I leaned down slightly, my voice low enough only she could hear. You stay the hell away from my family. If you so much as look at my daughter again, I'll make sure the school board knows every detail of this little dinner. Her face went white. She grabbed her bag and bolted out a side door. I stood there, trembling but unbroken, while the room stared. I didn't care. Without another word, I walked out, hailed a cab, and told the driver to take me home. My hands shook the entire ride. Not from fear anymore, no, this was rage settling into something colder. Something that wasn't going to go away. When I got home, Ryan was already there, pacing the living room like a caged animal. The moment I stepped through the door, he rushed toward me. Sarah, please. I held up a hand. Don't. My voice came out low and sharp, the kind of tone that could cut glass. I set my purse down deliberately, toeing off my heels with slow precision because if I didn't keep my movements measured, I knew I'd explode. He hovered like he wanted to hug me but thought better of it. It's not what you think, he began again, voice trembling now. I laughed, humorless and hollow. Oh, isn't it? Because I'm pretty sure it's exactly what I think. You texted me about your little date, Ryan. You wrote it. In your own words. His face crumpled. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was stupid. She was just someone to talk to. I spun on him, incredulous. Someone to talk to? Are you kidding me? We live in the same damn house. You couldn't talk to me? He ran both hands through his hair, frantic. It started as harmless flirting. I swear. Just texts, a coffee here and there. I didn't even realize how far it had gone until you were booking her a table at La Piazza? I snapped. Until you were planning to lie to me so you could sit across from my daughter's teacher like this was some cheap romance movie? He winced, stepping closer. Sarah, I didn't sleep with her. It wasn't physical. Please, you have to believe me. I stared at him, ice in my veins. Do you honestly think that makes it better? That I should be relieved you didn't get far enough to make it official cheating? He flinched like I'd slapped him. I'm so sorry, he said, voice breaking. I love you. I don't even know why I did it. It was stupid. A mistake. Please, don't throw this away. I let out a sharp, bitter laugh. throw this away? You did that the second you hit send on that text. He dropped to the couch, head in his hands. I didn't mean it. Emily, she just made me feel. I cut him off, my words sharp enough to pierce skin. If you say, young, or appreciated, I swear to God, I'll lose it. His mouth snapped shut. I crossed my arms, glaring down at him. You humiliated me in public, Ryan. Do you understand that? People saw me storm into that cafe. They saw her. How the hell am I supposed to face the other parents at school? How is our daughter supposed to face her classmates if this gets out? He looked up, his eyes wide and wet. I'll fix it. I'll quit seeing her. I'll do whatever you want. Counseling, anything. Just, don't give up on me. I stared at him for a long time, my chest tight, my hands trembling. Counseling? You think therapy's going to erase that text from my head? I'll block her, he blurted out. I'll delete her number, I'll talk to the school, I raised my hand, cutting him off again. Stop. For once in your life, just stop talking. He froze. Go sleep on the couch, I said coldly. If I hear one more word out of you tonight, I swear you'll be packing your bags by morning. For a moment, he looked like he might argue. Then he shut his mouth, grabbed a blanket, and slunk toward the couch like a scolded child. I locked the bedroom door behind me and collapsed against it, sliding down until I sat on the floor. For the first time since I read that text, the tears finally came. Hot, silent, and relentless. I didn't cry for him. I cried because something inside me, the part that believed he'd never do this, was gone, and I knew it wasn't coming back. The next 3 days were a blur of pleading, pathetic apologies, and suffocating silence. Ryan turned into a shadow, following me through the house like a ghost desperate to be seen. On Monday morning, I woke up to the smell of coffee brewing. He was in the kitchen, shirt rumpled, eyes bloodshot, holding out my favorite mug like it was a peace offering. Sarah, he said softly. I made your coffee the way you like it. 2 sugars, extra cream. Can we talk? I brushed past him without a word, grabbed my purse, and left for work. I didn't even take the coffee. That became the pattern. He'd hover near me constantly, desperate for any scrap of forgiveness. Tuesday, he left flowers on the counter with a note, please let me explain. I'll do anything. Wednesday, he texted me from the couch at 2 a.m., I miss you. I can't sleep without you. Thursday, he even showed up at my office over lunch, waiting in the lobby until my coworker had to awkwardly tell him to leave. Each attempt only deepened my disgust. It wasn't love, it was damage control. Meanwhile, I kept digging. I logged into his phone account and saw late-night calls to an unsaved number, Emily's, obviously, stretching back for months. I found messages he thought he'd deleted, fragments left behind in his cloud backup, you looked amazing today. Wish I could see you alone right now. Next time, let's skip coffee and go somewhere quieter. He swore nothing physical had happened, but reading those words made me sick. It didn't matter if they'd slept together or not, the betrayal was already complete. Thursday night, I confronted him in the living room. Why her, Ryan? Of all people, why her? He stared at me like a deer in headlights. It just happened. That's not an answer, I snapped. She's our daughter's teacher. Did you ever stop for 1 second and think about what this would do to her if she found out? I wasn't thinking, he admitted, voice cracking. It was stupid. She was just easy to talk to. She made me feel like. Like what? I cut him off. Like you still mattered to someone? Like you weren't some middle-aged man terrified of becoming irrelevant? He froze, his jaw tightening. I hit the mark and we both knew it. I didn't relent. Here's what I think, Ryan, you liked the thrill. You liked sneaking around like a teenager while I was home taking care of our family. And now you're scared, not because you lost me, but because you got caught. He sagged into the couch, face buried in his hands. I don't want to lose you, Sarah. Please. I'll do whatever it takes. I stood there, staring down at him, feeling a strange emptiness settle in my chest. Good, I said flatly. Then you'll tell me everything. Every text. Every meeting. Every time you saw her. If you leave out a single detail, we're done. He looked up, hesitating. Sarah. Now, I demanded. He hesitated too long. And in that silence, I knew. He stared at me from the couch, hands trembling, face pale. The silence between us stretched so long it felt like a living thing in the room, pressing against my chest until I could barely breathe. Ryan, I said, my voice low but steady, if you don't start talking right now, I'm calling a lawyer first thing in the morning. That broke him. He collapsed forward, elbows on his knees, hands gripping his hair like he could tear the guilt out of his skull. Okay, he choked out. Okay, you're right. I'll tell you everything. I crossed my arms and waited. He swallowed hard, his words stumbling out in a rush. It started 2 months ago. She stayed after school one evening to talk about our daughter's progress. We talked, for hours. I don't even know how it happened, but it felt easy. She laughed at my jokes. She made me feel like someone actually. Stop. My voice cracked like a whip. Do not stand there and romanticize your affair in my living room. He flinched but continued. We started texting after that. At first it was about school, little things, reminders about assignments. Then it turned into more. Compliments. Flirting. We met for coffee. Then lunch. A few times we kissed in her car. I felt bile rise in my throat. In her car? While our daughter sat in her classroom, waiting for dismissal? He buried his face in his hands. It was stupid. I knew it was wrong. I ended it. I cut him off with a bitter laugh. You ended it? Right. That's why I caught you at La Piazza with her just 3 nights ago. He looked up, eyes wet and frantic. I was going to end it that night. I just wanted to talk to her in person, to make sure it was over. Oh, please, I spat. You don't book a romantic restaurant to end it. You don't text her with heart emojis and make plans behind my back because you're being noble. He opened his mouth, then closed it, because we both knew I was right. I turned away, pacing the room, trying to keep from screaming. Do you have any idea what you've done? You didn't just betray me, Ryan, you dragged our daughter into this. You involved her teacher, someone she sees every day. Do you know what's going to happen if the school finds out? If the other parents hear about this? I'll fix it, he said, his voice cracking. I'll talk to the principal, I'll explain. Explain what? I spun on him. That you're a middle-aged idiot who thought it was sexy to flirt with his kid's teacher? That you humiliated your wife in public? Do you think anyone's going to buy whatever pathetic story you spin? He slumped back against the couch, defeated. For once, he didn't argue. I stared at him, my hands shaking so badly I had to grip the back of a chair to steady myself. You disgust me, I whispered. His shoulders sagged, and in that moment, I saw it. He knew he'd lost me. Sarah, he said, his voice barely audible, please. I'll do counseling. I'll quit my job if I have to. I'll do anything. I turned and walked toward the stairs without another word. At the top step, I stopped just long enough to say, sleep on the couch. Again. Then I shut the bedroom door. That night, I stared at the ceiling for hours, wide awake, knowing there was no coming back from this. Not really. Not ever. The next morning, I didn't wait for Ryan to say a word. I dressed in silence, grabbed my keys, and drove straight to the elementary school. I had barely slept, but anger fueled me like caffeine. The front office secretary smiled politely when I walked in. Good morning, Mrs. Miller. Here to drop something off for your daughter? No, I said, my voice sharp enough to make her blink. I need to speak to Principal Henderson. Right now. Her eyebrows lifted. Is this about Emily Carter? The way my stomach dropped told me everything. Yes, I said coldly. Within minutes, I was sitting across from Principal Henderson in his office. He looked uneasy, like he already knew why I was there. I didn't waste time. My husband has been having an affair with Ms. Carter, I said flatly. I have proof. Text messages. A date I caught them on. And I want to make it clear, she is not to have any further contact with my daughter. He blinked, clearly rattled. Mrs. Miller, are you certain? I slid my phone across his desk. Read the texts. And if that's not enough, I have screenshots of his call logs and her messages. I caught them together. He hesitated, then read. His face drained of color. This is serious, he said quietly, glancing toward the door like he expected Ms. Carter to walk in at any second. I'll need to contact the superintendent immediately. Do that, I said. And in the meantime, my daughter is not to set foot in that woman's classroom. By the end of the day, Ms. Carter was on leave pending investigation. The school sent a vague email to parents about a staffing change, but in our town, news spreads faster than wildfire. By pickup time, whispers were already circulating in the parking lot. One mom leaned toward me conspiratorially as I buckled my daughter into her car seat. Did you hear about Miss Carter? Suddenly gone. No explanation. Wonder what she did. I forced a tight smile, my stomach twisting. At dinner, my daughter asked, Mommy, why isn't Miss Carter at school? Did she get sick? I froze. Ryan, sitting silently across from me, opened his mouth, but I shot him a glare sharp enough to shut him down instantly. I reached over, tucking a strand of hair behind my daughter's ear. Sweetheart, Miss Carter had to leave for a while. Sometimes adults make mistakes, and they need to take time to fix them. She nodded, accepting it far easier than I expected, then went back to her macaroni. Ryan didn't speak for the rest of the meal. Later that night, my phone buzzed with a blocked number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Emily Carter. Sarah, she began, her voice trembling, please, you don't understand. This will ruin me. I could lose my license. My career. You should have thought about that, I cut in coldly. Stay away from my family. I care about your daughter, she pleaded. She's a wonderful student. I snapped. Don't you dare say her name to me. You lost every right to be anywhere near her the moment you started sneaking around with my husband. You're lucky I didn't go straight to the school board and the state. There was silence on the other end. Then a small, broken, I'm sorry, before she hung up. I stared at the phone for a long moment, then set it down. Ryan appeared in the doorway, pale and shaken. What did she say? I looked him dead in the eye. She's finished. And you should be, too. He didn't reply. By the end of that week, the fallout had begun to snowball. Ryan's affair wasn't just a private wound anymore, it was bleeding into every corner of our lives. Parents at school whispered in the pickup line. Some looked at me with pity, others with thinly veiled judgment, but worst of all were the stares he got when he came with me one morning to drop off our daughter. Heads turned. Conversations went quiet. One dad I barely knew muttered under his breath as we passed, unbelievable. The teacher? Disgusting. Ryan flinched visibly, but he said nothing. It didn't stop there. Word spread beyond the school. Our town isn't big, and gossip moves fast. By Monday, people at his office knew. I found out when his boss, Mr. Ellis, called me, not Ryan. Sarah, he said carefully, I'm sorry to bother you, but Ryan's been distracted at work. Missing meetings. I heard some things I really wish I hadn't. Is everything all right at home? I nearly laughed at the absurdity. Ask him yourself, I said coldly and hung up. When Ryan came home that night, his tie was loose, his shirt untucked. "They know," he admitted, collapsing into a chair. "Ellis pulled me aside today. Said it was unprofessional behavior, and I'm reflecting poorly on the company. They took me off 2 accounts." "Good," I said flatly. "Actions have consequences." He looked up, his eyes red. "Sarah, I'm losing everything." "No," I corrected him. "You threw it away." That night, his phone buzzed. He stared at it like it was a bomb, then handed it to me. It was a text from Mark, his so-called best friend. "Mark, what the hell, Ryan? You brought Sarah to my party, ditched her, and humiliated her in front of everyone. You embarrassed all of us. Don't bother calling me." Ryan rubbed his temples. "Mark's done with me. Everyone's done with me." I folded my arms. "Maybe you should have thought about that before sneaking around with our daughter's teacher." His face twisted, desperate. "I'm sorry. I can't undo it. I don't even know why I cut him off sharply. "Stop saying you don't know. You know exactly why. Because you wanted it. Because you didn't think you'd get caught." He went silent. By Wednesday, Emily Carter officially resigned from the school. An email from the superintendent went out, thanking her for her service and wishing her well. No explanation was given, but every parent knew. That night, Ryan sat on the couch staring blankly at the TV, not even pretending to watch. "Sarah," he said suddenly, "can we start over? Please. I'll do therapy, I'll change jobs, I'll do anything you want." I looked at him long and hard, feeling absolutely nothing. "You can't unring a bell, Ryan." He blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means," I said calmly, "that you broke something that doesn't get fixed. Not with therapy. Not with flowers. Not with promises you should have kept the first time." He stared at me like I'd stabbed him. "So that's it? You're really done?" I didn't answer. I just stood, went upstairs, and locked the bedroom door. For the first time since the affair began, I slept soundly. The next morning, I woke up with a strange calmness. No shaking hands. No racing heart. Just quiet certainty. I got dressed, ate breakfast with our daughter, and walked her to the bus stop while Ryan lingered in the doorway like a ghost. When I came back inside, I didn't even look at him. I sat at the kitchen table, opened my laptop, and typed in the words I'd been avoiding for days. "Divorce attorneys near me." The list loaded instantly. My chest tightened, but not with fear. Relief. Ryan shuffled in, still wearing his wrinkled t-shirt from the night before. "Sarah," he began, voice hoarse, "we need to talk." I didn't look up. "We will. After I call a lawyer." The sound he made wasn't quite a gasp, but close. "No. Sarah, please, don't do this. We can fix it. We can go to counseling." I finally raised my head, staring him dead in the eye. "You don't get it, do you? You don't fix betrayal. You don't erase a text message that says, 'Can't wait to see you tonight, Emily Redhart.' You don't undo the fact that I had to watch you flirting with my daughter's teacher through a cafe window." His hands trembled. "I made a mistake." "No," I snapped. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is leaving the milk out overnight. What you did was deliberate. Repeated. Calculated." He sank into a chair like his legs couldn't hold him. "What about our daughter?" My throat tightened. "Exactly. What about her? Do you have any idea how humiliating it's going to be for her when she's old enough to hear what happened? You dragged her into this without a second thought." His face crumpled. "I'll change. I swear it. Please, Sarah, don't throw away 10 years of marriage." I stood, shoving my chair back so hard it scraped the tile. "You threw it away, Ryan. the second you hit send. He reached for me, but I stepped back like his touch burned. Pack a bag, I said coldly. You can stay at your brother's. I want you out by tonight. His eyes went wide. You're serious? I grabbed my purse and keys. Dead serious. And if you're not gone by the time I get home, I'll change the locks. I left him sitting there, pale and silent. By noon, I had a consultation scheduled with a divorce attorney. By evening, Ryan was gone. Our daughter asked, "Where's Daddy?" I knelt down, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Daddy's staying somewhere else for now, sweetheart. But Mommy's here. Always." She nodded quietly and hugged me. Later that night, Ryan texted me. "Ryan, please, Sarah. I love you. I'll do anything." Me, you should have thought about that before you loved her. I turned off my phone and slept in peace for the second night in a row. The day after Ryan moved out, the house felt different. Quieter. Lighter. Like a storm had finally passed, leaving behind wreckage but also clean air. For the first time in weeks, I woke up without that crushing weight on my chest. I filed for legal separation that morning. My attorney, a sharp woman named Linda, didn't sugarcoat anything. "We'll push for primary custody," she said briskly, sliding papers across the desk. "Given his affair with someone connected to your child's school, judges don't look kindly on that. You'll be in a strong position." Hearing those words didn't bring joy, just resolve. I signed every page without hesitation. Meanwhile, Ryan's world was imploding. By midweek, I heard through mutual acquaintances that he'd been put on indefinite leave from his job. Apparently, the gossip about him and Emily had spread through his office, and a client had even complained after recognizing his name from school drama. Unprofessional conduct was the official reason, but everyone knew why. Mark, his former best friend, blocked him entirely. Even Ryan's own brother texted me privately, "I love him, but he's an idiot. You don't deserve this, Sarah." Ryan texted me constantly. "Ryan, I can't stop thinking about you. Please talk to me. Ryan, I'm staying in a motel now. It's awful. I miss home. Ryan, tell me what I can do to fix this." I didn't answer. Instead, I focused on our daughter. She was quieter than usual, clinging to me more at bedtime. One night, she whispered, "Mommy, did I do something bad? Is that why Daddy's gone?" My heart shattered. I hugged her tight, kissing her forehead. "Oh, baby, no. None of this is your fault. Mommy and Daddy just need to live in different houses now, but we both love you more than anything." She nodded slowly, her little hands gripping my shirt like I might vanish if she let go. Meanwhile, Emily Carter disappeared completely. I heard she'd moved out of town within days of resigning from the school. Good. But even as Ryan's life fell apart, he didn't stop. He showed up at the house one evening unannounced, looking exhausted and unshaven. "Sarah, please," he said from the porch, rain soaking his clothes. "I'm begging you. Don't do this. We can rebuild." I stared at him through the screen door. "You need to leave, Ryan. Or I'll call the police." His shoulders slumped, and for the first time, he didn't argue. He just nodded, turned, and walked away. That night, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on the couch, staring out at the rain. For the first time since this nightmare began, I felt free. Not happy yet. Not healed. But free. 2 weeks after Ryan moved out, I woke up to sunlight spilling through the curtains and realized I hadn't cried once in days. The silence in the house no longer felt heavy, it felt peaceful. The legal process was moving faster than I expected. Linda, my attorney, called me one morning. "He's agreed to the separation terms," she said. "Primary custody to you. Supervised visitation every other weekend. No spousal support." I felt a strange mix of relief and finality. So it's done. Almost, she replied. Just signatures left. That evening, I sat at the kitchen table with the papers spread out in front of me. I signed each one slowly, deliberately, like I was carving his name out of my life. When I was done, I didn't feel sadness. Just certainty. Ryan still texted occasionally, his messages swinging wildly between desperate apologies and bitter anger. Ryan, I can't believe you're doing this. Ryan, we were supposed to be forever. Ryan, you're really going to throw 10 years away over a mistake. The last one made me laugh out loud. I didn't respond. Instead, I focused on rebuilding. I rearranged furniture, painted our bedroom a soft blue, and even replaced the sheets, the ones we used to share. It was symbolic, maybe petty, but it felt cleansing. Our daughter adjusted faster than I expected. The first weekend Ryan had visitation, she came home quiet but calm. She didn't ask many questions anymore. One night, while I tucked her in, she looked up at me and said, "Mommy, I like it better when it's just us." I kissed her forehead, swallowing back tears. Me too, sweetheart. I started going for morning walks before work, listening to music I loved but hadn't played in years. I joined a yoga class. I met up with friends I hadn't seen in forever, and when they asked how I was holding up, I told them the truth. I'm better. Stronger. The whispers in town eventually died down. People found new gossip, new scandals. My name faded from their conversations, and I liked it that way. One afternoon, Emily Carter's name popped up in a local Facebook group. Someone posted a blurry photo of her in another state, working at a tutoring center. I scrolled past without a second thought. She was out of my life, irrelevant now. The last time Ryan texted me, it was short. "Ryan, I'm sorry. For everything." I didn't reply. Because here's what I learned: closure isn't something they give you. It's something you claim for yourself. That night, I stood on the porch with a cup of tea, watching the sun dip below the horizon. My daughter was asleep, the house was quiet, and for the first time in months, I felt a deep, unshakable peace. I'd been shattered. But I'd also rebuilt myself, piece by piece. Stronger. Wiser. And I knew, deep down, that someday I'd tell my daughter this story, not to scare her, but to teach her one truth I'd learned the hard way. Love without respect isn't love. And walking away isn't weakness, it's survival. As the last of the sun disappeared, I smiled softly to myself. This wasn't the ending I'd once imagined. It was better.